Hello everybody, Snitch Racer here for part 2 of the NASCAR 98 Challenge series. This video will contain 2 races and that will be how I am doing it in the future. The first race being the fantasy road course track set in California called Belmont, and the second will be the dreaded Texas Motor Speedway. And the first race is quite the struggle to even stay on track at times. Well, Texas is, it's Texas. Now I welcome everybody to join me on part 2 of NASCAR 98 Full Season Challenge.
Hello and welcome to round 2 of the NASCAR Championship Racing Series and the inaugural running of the EA Sports 500. I'm Bob Jenkins for EA Sports, coming to you today from Belmont International Raceway near San Mateo, California. As we can see by the track layout, there are plenty of passing opportunities on this fast track. Look for the drivers to be running wide open and passing with any chance they get.
Alright, on to Belmont International Speedway here. This track is quite a fast road course that isn't very big. It has a lot of very fast sweeping corners in it, followed by a pretty large braking zone going into turn 1. That being the best opportunity that I have to pass in the entire track. And because I did not have too successful of a qualifying, passing is something I'm gonna have to do. I'll let you watch my qualifying session now.
Oh god, just wouldn't turn. It's like a good half a second right there. God damn. Damn it. That's like a second off my fastest time in practice. That's alright.
And after my lackluster qualifying, I end up in 11th place, with my main championship rival Jeff Gordon landing there in 9th. The legendary Dale Jarrett managed to get pole position there. And rounding out the rest of the lineup is Dale Earnhardt in 2nd place. 3rd is Rusty Wallace, Jeff Wood on 4th. 5th place Terry, 6th place Bobby, 7th place Ernie Irvin, 8th place Jeremy Mayfield, 9th place Jeff Gordon, with Kyle Petty rounding out the top 10. With the Labonte brothers starting on the same row together. We love to see it.
The green flag is out.
And as we take the green flag here, we get a massive jump off the start because of the speed advantage from our setup, but I overcook it into the corner going into a 4-wheel slide because of locking up the brace. Kyle Petty just pushes himself right past me and into a wall, and I go even further back from where I started in 12th place. So despite the fact it looked like I was going to gain about 6 or 7 places off the start, we're going to have some work to do as we keep getting pushed off the track by the McDonald's car and the Hot Wheels car battling each other. Bill Elliott and Kyle Petty forcing me off the track and sending me even further back into 13th place. I have to basically pass a car every other lap now, as the bumping and banging for the battle for 10th place up ahead here continues as I slide into the last corner going down the front straightaway. I look for a move on the outside and I try to be careful braking this time, a little too careful, and I end up over braking myself and lose that advantage that I gained. And honestly, by now, I've already figured out that going into turn 1 and trying to do a pass around the outside is probably not the move. You gotta stick it down the inside as we go flying past Kyle Petty pretty easily there. But as I attempt to continue that momentum into the next corner, I slide right off, completely erasing the move I did on Kyle Petty. And as we find ourselves at the beginning of the next lap, going down the front straightaway, I zoom past 3 cars going into turn 1. I just barely make the braking as I clip the dirt on the outside there. The 37 of Ryan Newman shoots it up the right side, but I manage to block him, securing 10th place. And that's where I remain for a couple of laps. Now on lap 5, I try to do the double pass into turn 1, and I outbrake myself again, off track again. As Ernie Irvin battles the Pennzoil car ahead, they make contact, and the Pennzoil car goes into the wall, giving me a free place immediately. And then I try to zoom on the outside on this corner, but this corner is very difficult to pass, so I change my mind, and I'm back into 10th place, bumping and banging with everybody here. And this is what I'm trying to avoid, is getting stuck behind these slower cars, because I'm trying to catch up to Jeff Gordon. He's made his way all the way up to 5th or 4th place at this point, and I am losing precious time to make the move, but I'm going on to the front straightaway here to attempt the double into 8th place, and it's nice and easy as I lock up the brakes a tiny bit though, but the move is complete. And as we hit fast forward here, I turn into a man on a mission. My mission is to hunt down Jeff Gordon and pass him, because I don't think I'm going to win this race. I best just try to catch that Jeff Gordon son of a gun. As we're now on lap 7 going into the first corner, I make contact with the 7 car ever so slightly, but that's nothing to worry about. It didn't even slow me down. Now I'm into 7th place with Rusty Wallace ahead of us. And guess who's right ahead of him? I see the orange of the DuPont car. My rival in the championship, Jeff Gordon, is in 5th place, not too far ahead now. Now, coming to the end of lap 7, leading into lap 8, we make the very easy pass on Rusty Wallace because of our speed advantage from those setups that I made earlier. But with Jeff Gordon here, I don't want to hesitate at all as I think about a move immediately, looking right and left as we go into this fast sweeping corner. I go around the outside and take the 5th place just like that. And with over half of the race still to go, I have already gotten to my goal of beating Jeff Gordon. Of course, we still have to keep him behind us, which is easier said than done in this game. We found out in the very first race, as you see him in our mirror right there. And by the way, I have my face cam on during some of these races. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or not, but let me know. As we set ourselves up to pass Dale Earnhardt and now Bobby Labonte into the first corner, I lock up the brakes and hit Bobby Labonte on the side and lose 3rd place, only getting up to 4th there. As we find ourselves in a tight battle between Dale Earnhardt, Bobby Labonte, and myself, I get loose a little bit and clip Bobby Labonte, but we do manage to get right past him. Oh, I clip the dirt, losing a bit of grip there and speed, and Bobby shoots it up the outside, and he sends me into the wall there. Man, the AI are super aggressive in this game as Dale Earnhardt sends it in like a freaking bat out of hell. And then Jeff Gordon on the outside. In a matter of seconds, I'm back down to 6th place because of just one tiny mistake. The AI are so good at punishing you on that. It honestly makes it a lot of fun. And what did I tell you? Jeff Gordon wasn't out of this race at all, but he is going to get passed right now into turn 1. Or is he? I completely go off the track, again overshooting that corner, losing 6th place. I don't want it to last for long, though, as you see me looking for moves immediately like a curious mouse out there. And then I'm rewarded for my aggression by shooting it up the outside back into 5th place. Now we got to hunt down Dale Earnhardt again. But that's alright, all you have to do is wait for the front straightaway for that easy pass, or will it be easy, as I run right into the back of Dale Earnhardt, but it, again, doesn't slow me down, as I find myself shooting past Bobby Labonte, now into 3rd place. Now, at first, this race was quite difficult because I wasn't used to driving in the road courses with the physics of NASCAR 98, but as soon as I start getting used to the game with these setups and the speed advantage, it starts to become a little bit too easy. And that will become a lot more apparent during the second race of this video at Texas, where I have a massive speed advantage. This is why after that Texas race, there will be no setups. It makes things a lot more even and a lot more interesting. Otherwise, the series would just turn into me grinding out wins every single race, and who wants to watch that? I know I wouldn't. And as you saw in the background there, as I was talking about setups, I did temporarily lose 5th place, but of course that's not going to last long. The speed advantage, I go right into 3rd. The one nice thing that kept this race interesting, though, from this point on is the fact that Terry Labonte and Dale Jarrett are a little bit faster than the rest of the AI. So despite the fact that my overall pace is faster than them, my tendency to make mistakes makes it quite hard to actually catch up and pass them. As you see me lock up the brakes going into turn 1 at least one more time. Meanwhile, the battle for third place is not quite over yet, as I have a gaggle of cars behind me. Bobby, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Gordon all want third. Bobby being aggressive with a move on the inside. Now, you'll remember that I have damage turned on and I can DNF, so I do have to be quite careful when going into some of these corners as I absolutely decimate the wall, coming quite close to completely destroying my car. But we move on here and manage to keep third place for a second, only for a second, but Bobby sneaks in there for an attempted move, only for me to block him and for him to actually run into Jeff Gordon. Jeff Gordon's pushing him off the track to get into fourth place himself, and it looks like he's going to be able to pull off the move, or is he? As you see in my rear view mirror, they're still bumping and banging. Bobby's still managing to hold him off. It's quite the battle here as I just try to pull away from them so I can build up that gap and maybe secure second or first place. But most importantly, I just want to finish ahead of Jeff, of course. And we do manage to stay ahead of Jeff for quite a while here as we pull away from third and fourth place. As past me decides to pause the game here to check out what's going on in the race standings, we have Terry Labonte first, Dale Jarrett second, me third. Jeff Gordon has managed to get into fourth place, ahead of the fifth place, Bobby Labonte. We skip ahead to lap 19, and I have an amazing opportunity to go for a pass on the outside, but it is risky. Dale Jarrett making slight contact, being aggressive, and sending me straight off the track. A questionable move by the legendary Dale Jarrett there, which sends me into the shark-infested waters we call Jeff Gordon in your rearview mirror, and he slides right past me as I make a really silly mistake in that corner there. Now I find myself back in the middle of that absolutely wild battle between everyone for third place. Thankfully, we're back on the front straightaway. I can use the draft and my speed advantage to absolutely zoom past that DuPont Jeff Gordon. That's not going to last very long, though, as he pushes himself through, driving like Kyle Busch out there. But I do manage to block his ass and stay in third place for the time being. Not without a little bumping and banging, though, of course. Fortunately, though, that would be the most of the action for the rest of the race as we fast forward to the last lap. As we take the white flag here, I'll let you guys watch and listen to the very final lap of the race. We get the white flag right as the leaders are just catching up to a couple of lap cars. Will it affect Terry Labonte's ability to take the win or not? As I can see him pulling up to the lap cars ahead. Oh fuck, I almost died. God, the gear ratio is very strange on this car sometimes, brother. Oh my god, this car really just wants to go wide all the time right now. Ooh, that was scary. Hell yeah. Third place, not bad. Not bad at all for a race I wasn't doing too well at, or for a race I wasn't too confident in. Not too bad at all, past self. As we look at the final results here, we have Terry Labonte in first place after DNFing in the first race, as well as Dale Jarrett in second place after DNFing in the first race. I being Mark Martin in third, our championship rival of Jeff Gordon in fourth, Dale Earnhardt in fifth, Bobby Labonte 6th, Rusty 7th, Johnny Benson in 8th, Jeff Bodine in 9th, and Ernie Irvin rounding out the top 10. And on to the standings after two races. I have a 10-point advantage in first place ahead of Jeff Gordon in second, Bobby Labonte not too far ahead and behind in third, Dale Earnhardt 4th, Rusty 5th, Sterling Marlin 6th. We have a tie for 7th with Bill Elliott and Ernie Irvin. Kenny Wallace somehow still in the top 10 in 9th. Terry Labonte, 10th place, rounding out that top 10. And if you're curious about the rest of the standings, just hit the pause button and have a look through this. But we'll move on to the third race in the season, the second race of this video, Texas Motor Speedway.
Good afternoon and welcome to Texas Motor Speedway. I'm Bob Jenkins for EA Sports, coming to you from Fort Worth, Texas, with round 3 of the NASCAR Championship Racing Series. Let's take a look at this beautiful all-new state-of-the-art racetrack. The 1.5-mile oval track offers long straightaways and awesome bank turns of 8 to 24 degrees.
All right, and despite the fact that this race in Texas was almost twice as long as Belmont, there will be not nearly as much commentary. The reason being the setups that I'm using give me an absolutely silly advantage that has me way faster than everybody on the track, so there isn't too much action in the race itself, but stay tuned, it's not without its perils. And for those who aren't familiar with Texas Motor Speedway, it is a 1.5-mile D-shaped oval, which is quite fast, and in real life, it's quite difficult to keep the car on track without losing control. It's not very popular with NASCAR fans, though. In this game, it's not too bad. It's really not bad. As I will phase myself out here and let you watch the rest of the qualifying lap.
Good job. We got the pole.
And with that smooth display of driving, I find myself on pole position with 0.8 of a second to spare, absolutely decimating the field, a foreshadow of things to come. Rounding out the top 10 will be Jeff Burton, 2nd place, Dale Jarrett, 3rd, Terry Labonte in 4th, Bobby Labonte in 5th, Dale Earnhardt, 6th, 7th place, Michael Waltrip, 8th place, Jeff Gordon, Ernie Irvin, and 9th place, and I managed to skip 10th before I got a chance to see it. And we'll take the green flag here as we zoom right out into the lead. You can even see the speed advantage immediately into turn 1. I'm already almost a second ahead of everybody. And I just keep going as we fast forward here. You can watch the track map in a second and watch the gap that I inevitably build up due to that car setup advantage until we get to lap 7. Where I decide to pause and see how much of an advantage I have. And yes, after 7 laps, I already have 9 seconds on the leaders. The 2nd place, I should say, of Terry Labonte. Absolutely abysmal if I want to actually have a challenge here. But good news is this is where the advantage stops. After today, I will not have that advantage. As you can see, my past self probably discussing my frustration with how easy it is. But good news is, past self, it'll change. But like I said, stay tuned as this race is not without its challenges. There's still things to come here. Because, of course, we do have that always constant factor of the lap cars to pass and to get ahead of and not crash into as we find ourselves right behind the 7 car. We think about the outside, which is obviously the wrong move as I get pitched into the wall. But we don't have too much trouble after that, and we zoom right on past. And I'll let you watch a little compilation of some of the moves that I made on these lap cars starting now. After lapping cars for what seems like an eternity, we now find ourselves on lap 25, and just look at how far ahead of the whole ahead of the whole field. You can see the number 2 indicator on the map, is actually like closer to me ahead of me than it is behind me. And watch as I'm actually passing Dale Earnhardt, who I'm pretty sure is in like 6th or 7th place right now. So we're absolutely dominating this race in a comical fashion. But of course, since we're up here with some of the faster lap cars, passing them is going to be a lot more difficult. Sterling Marlin corners in the wall there and puts on the vibrations there to freaking almost take me out of the race. And so I try to go a little too fast into this next corner here out of frustration and end up slipping into the wall ever so slightly. I gotta calm down here because it would be embarrassing to dominate this race for like 35 laps or 25 laps and just take myself out and DNF. That would be a total disaster. As we skip a tiny bit ahead here, going onto the front straightaway, 2 lap cars get into each other, scaring the crap out of me. I sort of slam on the brakes to decide which way to go, and I managed to go on the outside of one, down the inside of another, not before slamming into the wall. In a state of absolute panic, I go in back down to the apron like a fool, making me lose several seconds of time, but all that really matters is I stay on the track since I'm a good 30-40 seconds ahead of the entire field. But that lead's gone. It's a caution flag. Just like that, the lead is completely gone, and all the work I did in building up that lead is erased. Of course, we still have the lap cars that will remain laps, but we do have to be careful on restart to not lose first place or end up in a crash. As we skip ahead, we get to the green flag, and I'm caught napping as Dale Earnhardt and the NBA car go zooming past me. Both lap cars, so my position is safe. In fact, I'm pretty sure second place is a good 5 or 6 cars behind me still. So we don't have to worry about them too much, but what we do have to worry about is getting past these sketchy lap cars as they're in a battle for their own life here. I go right into turn 3 and slam the 28 car straight into the wall. Not sure what even happened there, to be honest. We go back out onto the straightaway, and I gain the speed I need to go around the outside and leave that lap car in the dust. And then it's pretty much smooth sailing for the rest of the race. Not too much happens, apart from this wild moment that's coming up in a few seconds here. As we're now on lap 41, another lap car coming up ahead of me, but I am going a little too fast on old tires. I hit that car and lose control, hitting the inside wall, managing to just save myself from a total disaster. Now lap 43, we head down into the pits for a nice easy pit stop here. And as I come out of the pits for the first time all race, I actually find myself not in the lead there in third, but that certainly isn't really a factor because the 2 cars that are ahead of me still have to pit, so I'm essentially still in the lead. And as we pause a few laps later here on lap 42nd, my lead is only about 9 seconds now. It's a lot smaller than it was before, though that doesn't last very long. I do end up gaining that lead back very quickly. As you can see, by lap 72, I'm now relapping the entire field. Massive gap to second place on the track map. And just when I thought the race was over, there's a huge crash ahead of me. I panicked trying to avoid it, hit a tire slide, and hit the 30 car, almost taking myself out of the race in the process. As you can see, the 30 car clearly DNF'd. What an insane crash to completely keep me on my toes there. God, what a crazy and disappointing ending it would have been for myself if I got 72 laps in, dominated the entire race, and crashed myself out there. Thank God that wasn't the result. And then for some reason, the restart starts on the exit of a corner here in the most awkward spot I've ever seen for a green flag as I get completely railroaded by lap cars. Like, watch, even Ryan Newman's going past me, the world's slowest car in this game. But that's where all the challenges end as we go to the last lap here. Zooming down the front straightaway, I take the checkered flag and the victory at Texas Motor Speedway. Victory number 2 for Mark Martin on the year. And as we look at the rest of the results, we have Terry Labonte in second place, our championship rival of Jeff Gordon in third, Dale Jarrett in fourth, Bobby Labonte fifth, sixth, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt in seventh, Ernie Irvan eighth, Ted Musgrave in ninth, and Mike Skinner in 10th. I'm not sure what's going on with my standings there as I juggled them like a bunch of juggling balls there. But what does that mean for the standings? Well, Mark Martin, me in first place with a 20-point lead as we have Jeff Gordon second, Bobby Labonte third, Dale Earnhardt in 4th and Terry Labonte in 5th, 6th Sterling Marlin, 7th Dale Jarrett, 8th Ernie Irvin, 9th Rusty Wallace, and surprisingly Mike Skinner down in 10th. So right now, effectively, it's only really a 2-horse race for the championship with Terry Labonte, Dale Earnhardt, and Bobby, all with outside chance of coming back in. And next week's race will be Bristol, followed by a second oval that's slipping my mind right now as I have not recorded that 5th race. The challenge shall increase as I'm not allowed to touch the setups whatsoever anymore, and trust me, with Bristol, that does become a factor, and it will be my most difficult oval race so far by a long shot. But I just want to invite you to subscribe for part 3 and like the video, as it does help me a lot. And remember to tune in next time when I discuss my decimals.